It's time for our energy update with Dan McTeague, President of Canadians for Affordable Energy.
Well, hi again, Julie, and good to see you. I can tell you that for gas prices for the month of August have been pretty tame. They've been relatively quiet right across the country. You know, we've gone and seen oil go from $73 to $78 a barrel, so it's staying in the $76 a barrel range. And it's been whipsawed by a number of factors, most importantly, geopolitics, whether or not Iran will retaliate or not. It appears that they're getting cold feet and they won't. So markets have now removed the risk to the price of a barrel of oil. Nevertheless, demand has been very strong. It has surged in the United States. And we've had 4 or 5 weeks of data that suggests that oil inventories, not just in the United States, but around the world, continue to dry up, or at least to fall ever so slightly. That runs counter to those out there who have believed that for some time the ongoing battle that the U.S. Fed and other central banks have had against inflation, is one of the catalysts for keeping energy demand or energy prices in check. It's, of course, an erroneous read of the situation, and it's likely to lead to some very disturbing and very unpleasant consequences at some point down the road, but that's not going to happen for quite some time. I am looking at the fact that in a month from now, we will be going back to winter blend gasoline. So that means about a 10 or 11 cent decrease from what we're paying today, an average of about $1.64, $1.65 across Canada. So from coast to coast, you're looking at prices that are relatively inexpensive if you consider where we were last year or by previous indications of what we paid during the summer. Vancouver staying in the 178 range, might go up a penny or two this week. That's about it. The rest of the interior of BC, so Kelowna, Kamloops, Prince George, all in the mid 167 to 175 range. For Alberta, you're going to continue to see prices at $1.45 at the low end in the Edmonton area where there's lots of competition, and retailer gas stations like to shed those retail margins. All the way to $1.51 in Calgary. So that's really where we're staying. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of change. It might be up and down depending on the markets. But as we know, not just in Alberta and British Columbia and Saskatchewan, prices remain the same. Gas stations simply don't respond to the wholesale price increases or decreases unless they're dramatic, and they tend to stick around for about a week or two. So Saskatchewan will be continuing in the 160 range, 158 to 166. While Manitoba, $1.50 to $1.49 is probably the best case scenario. For Ontario, the $1.64 that we're paying is about the average we're going to pay throughout the week. So that includes Toronto, Ottawa, and of course, London, Ontario, Hamilton. Those prices will remain pretty much where they are. As for Quebec, always add another 9 cents a liter. That's the difference in taxes. So $1.70 is where they're going to be $1.73, $1.74. For the Maritimes, they've seen a bit of an increase, not much, a penny or so for both diesel and gasoline. Those prices are likely to remain at least where they are for the foreseeable future, with a possibility of a 1 cent decrease. As I said, this is a very unusual market. It's not just because we're seeing a U.S. election, but also, there's a lot of other factors now driving energy prices. AI has a lot to do with it. Algorithms, quants, all of these things have nothing to do with fundamentals. And the real danger is the further we get away from, supply and demand, the more likely it is we're going to have a very choppy, unstable market in days to come when we do truly have an emergency or a crunch either in supply or a surge in demand. All those are factors that cannot be dismissed. They are what has governed markets for the better part of a half a century or longer. And the further we distance ourselves from those, the more volatile we can look at the energy prices to be in the foreseeable future, save and except what governments do to ever increase the price of gasoline, whether it's due to carbon taxes or whether it's due to government regulations. All of these are leading to much higher prices for Canadians down the road, which of course is the intention of governments. And whether they want to realize it or not, and they say it's not inflationary, it's a bit of a contradiction, because the idea behind the carbon tax and behind regulations to drive up prices is in fact to get people to be discouraged from driving their vehicles using internal combustion engines, using either diesel or gasoline. But we also have to consider that the economics of the country are also very much in play. If we consider that, we are looking at energy prices that are based on net, debt, then we know that the country could be suffering from much higher prices down the road. That's it for this week, Julie. We'll talk next week and bring you up to date with what the prices should soon be.